So financial discipline is the faithful management of financial resources God has entrusted to us. Faithful management of financial resources God has entrusted, to us. And it has some basis. Those bases are you are managing those resources with wisdom, integrity, accountability, and self-control, so that they are used effectively for His purposes and glory. Let me take it again. Financial discipline is the faithful management of the financial resources God has entrusted to us with wisdom, integrity, accountability, and self-control, so that they are used effectively for His purposes and glory. Let me now talk about it from the angle of army or missionaries. Financial discipline in the army is the faithful, accountable, and prudent management of financial and material resources by soldiers or ministry workers, ensuring that every resource entrusted to them is used efficiently, responsibly, and solely to accomplish the mission. Saying the same thing in different way. The baseline is faithful management of the resources that God has given to us, so that we'll be able to accomplish God's mission. That is basic. And when we are talking about fulfilling God's mission, it means those resources must be efficiently, responsibly, and solely, used to accomplish the mission. The aspect of wisdom there is talking about how we use financial resources thoughtfully. It's not something that you do reflexly, something that you are intentional about. The wisdom, thoughtfulness must be there, and you must make sound decision that aligns with God's purpose, or with the mission, or the purpose for which the fund has been entrusted into our hands. And for the integrity, it means handling those resources honestly, transparently, and faithfully, without misappropriation. Handling it honestly, transparently, and faithfully, without misappropriation. We are still going to see all those things as we continue. Now, there is no how we will talk about financial discipline that will not talk about the principle of stewardship. And I want to start from this principle of stewardship. The Bible says in Psalm 24 verse 1 that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. It means God is the owner of everything. He owns us. He owns the resources. He owns our partners that are supporting our work. He's the owner of everything. He's the controller of all events, and is our provider. If He does not touch the heart of our partners, there is no how they are going to give to us. So He's the one that controls all the events and is our provider. Our own responsibility is stewardship. Stewardship. And who is a steward? A steward means a manager, a supervisor, or an overseer. So, A steward is somebody that manages another person's resources according to the owner's instruction. The steward does not have his own personal intention. It is the owner. This is the funds, I'm giving it to you. This is what you should do it for. So a steward will manage it according to the instruction given to him by the owner. That is our own responsibility. And now, meaning that mission money is whose money? Mission money is God's money. What of our mission vehicles? Is God's vehicles. Our church building. About our equipment? So meaning that we are managers. We are not the owners. We are just managers. And we are to manage all these resources, financial and otherwise, according to the instruction of God, that is the owner. So I said here that God is concerned not only with how much we give, but also with how faithfully we manage everything He entrusts to us. We can give. God is interested in it, but He's interested in more than that. As He appreciates our giving, also He appreciates how faithfully we use the funds or materials He has entrusted to us. So now let's quickly go to why financial discipline matters in mission. Why it matters in missions. The first why is financial discipline builds Christian character. Financial discipline builds Christian character. Luke 16:10, talking about those people that were given talents to, and one was given 5, another one 2, another one 1. The one with 1 did not trade with it and came back with it. So, and where I'm going is that verse 10 that say, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. So, financial faithfulness is a test of spiritual maturity. We cannot say we are matured spiritually if we cannot handle the resources God has entrusted to us faithfully. That is lack of maturity. So it's testing our maturity. So when we faithfully manage God's resources, our Christian character is being strengthened. Then our integrity is developed. You know that this is the way you have to run it. This is the use. You must put a particular resources and you stick to it faithfully. Our integrity is being developed. Even when there are reasons not to do it in that way, we still, did it the way we are supposed to do it. So our integrity is being developed. So, and trust is increased. So our character is strengthened, integrity is developed, trust increases, and so greater responsibilities are entrusted to us. If you are able to manage 100,000 faithfully, God is going to bring 10 million our ways, because He has tested us with little and we have handled it faithfully. Our character has been strengthened, our integrity has been developed, there is trust, and so God will give to us more responsibilities. So faithfulness is measured not by how much we have, but by how well we manage what we have, no matter how small or how big. Our faithfulness is measured by how well we manage the resources, whether small or much. That is the first one. So financial discipline builds Christian character. Then the second one is it protects the gospel, because financial misconduct damages the testimony of Christ and weakens donor confidence. If they know that some funds came in for missionaries and the funds did not get to missionaries, the donors may know. At the end of the day, they may withdraw theirs, and that misconduct may spoil our testimony. Don't mind them. CMF, give them funds for so 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 and so. They will not use it for that, and before you know it, the testimony will be spoiled. And from one place to the other, that's what they will be saying. Even though yes, they are spiritual, they are all this, and but when it comes to finances, I cannot recommend them for your support. So it protects the gospel. So if we utilize the resources faithfully according to donor specification and according to what God has put in our mind, our mission, it protects the gospel, because a financial mistake can undo years of faithful ministry. It's as serious as that. Even though we have been faithful in the past, but just a simple mistake can undo our years of faithful ministry. That's the second one. Then the third one sustains ministry. It sustains ministry. Good financial management enables ministry to continue during difficult periods. There are times that we have abundant funds. If you use it anyhow, a time is coming that the flow may not be as much as we experienced. And so, if we have mismanaged the ones that came in, we'll not be able to do anything. It means that everything must pause, because there is a saying that says money is the will of the gospel. So it means the will have to pause because we have mismanaged with the previous one. So financial discipline helps us to have a sustained ministry at the long term. So it helps us to sustain, helps us to achieve sustained ministry. Financial discipline is the bridge between God's provision and the long-term sustainability of his ministry. It's just a bridge. The discipline that we have bridges between God's provision and long-term sustainability. So if we did not do it as we ought to, if there is no financial discipline, there can be no long-term sustainability, because the money that God entrusted to our hands now may be for a longer period of time. But if you mismanage it, it means the bridge is broken. So we might not be able to have long-term sustainability because the bridge of financial discipline is broken at one point or the other. So that is the third one. Then the fourth one, it maximizes kingdom impact. Maximizes kingdom impact. Every naira saved through wise management can support evangelism, church planting, discipleship, missionary care, leadership development. So any fund that we save as a result of wise management, can help us to achieve all this. And as a result, the kingdom impact is maximized. Then the last one here is it builds trust. It builds trust. Because of financial discipline, people continue to support ministries because of the trust. Give it to CMF. You say this money is for so so so, that's what they will use it for. This fund is for so 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 missionary, that is who they will give it to. So that has created trust, and so such donors will continue to support the work. And this is not just happening, it's because trust is built through honesty, transparency, and accountability. Because some of these things the donors may not know if we are not transparent and not accountable. We are going to see some of those things as we continue. So, um, like I said, we are looking at it from the angle of personal, family, and ministry. So now let's look at the practical financial discipline. Practical financial discipline. The first one is as individual now, personally. Live within your means. Practical financial discipline for individual. Live within your means. You know this is what God has provided for now. You should be able to live within that means and so avoid unnecessary borrowing, because that means it's like it's not enough. You now want to be borrowing. So if you are borrowing, we are not having financial discipline. So whatever God has provided is what we should use for that time. And also we are still on personal now. Differentiate between needs and wants. There are some times that we work ourselves up because of wants. Needs are things that we need for survival, things that we cannot live without. We need food, we need shelter, we need water, we need um drugs for those people that are not healthy. They need health care. Let's call it health care. We need transport, and some other things like that. Things that we cannot live without. So some of those things, when we trust God for them and the funds came, we use it for those ones. And we cannot shy away from the wants. There are some times we have some wants, but we don't need to work ourselves up because of wants. The idea is pray to God to meet the need, and probably if God provides, you can save for your wants. I don't know if you are getting me. God has provided for the needs. If God now give us extra, we can save it for to meet the want. But the idea is to meet the needs first. So if you are not able to differentiate between needs and wants, we begin to work ourselves up because of want. And we'll now be looking at God as if God is not good to us after he has provided the basic things for us. So practical financial discipline. So we must be able to differentiate between needs and wants. And also we must practice contentment. We must practice contentment. Then avoid comparing yourself with other missionaries. You don't know the support base of the other person. You are comparing yourself. The Bible says they that compare themselves with others are not wise. So if we are comparing ourselves with others, we are not wise. So to practice financial discipline, we must not compare ourselves with others. And another one is we must budget before spending, whether at individual level, family level, or ministry level. It means that every naira or sever or dollar that is coming, that we are trusting God for, already has what we use it for before the money comes. Because when you are talking about budgeting, you are talking about the expected support and the expected expenses. So before every naira support comes, you already have what you want to use it. That's just the idea of budget. Planning. Budgeting even before the money comes in. I remember there was a time Somebody has been praying for money, and the money came in, and the person said, I've not been eating meat. The person was now, instead for the person to cook soup, he will now be going to the back. He will buy small food, plenty meat. Small food, plenty meat. Before you know it, 1 week, that huge amount of money was bastardized. And later I will now be saying, you, these people, you are not friendly. You see me, I've been hungry for some days now because there was no budget. When the money came, there was no budget for it. So he now saw the need. I've not been eating meat. And the money got finished. So if we budget, we'll save ourselves of all those mistakes. So it's not out of place if at individual level, family level and ministry level, we prepare budget. Then we plan for the future. We plan for the future. Proverbs 30:25 says, the ant prepares during summer. So when the time comes that he will not be able to go out, he already has enough. We are not saying we should not have faith. But many times, like I said from the onset, that sometimes it's not as if God is not good to us. But the way we manage the money is the reason why we are looking, it's as if God is not providing for us. So if we plan for the future, the little God is providing for us, we'll be able to use it purposefully. So, let's quickly go to key pillars of financial discipline because of our time. Key pillars of financial discipline in ministry. The first one is transparency and accountability. So, one reason donors continue to support missionaries is confidence. We have talked about it when we're talking about trust. So, but now, that confidence will now come after they have trusted us. And there are things that come in place that made them to trust us and to have confidence in us. So that confidence grows through accurate financial records. At ministry level, they gave us money. We wrote receipts. We sent to them. Meaning that this money that you gave us did not enter personal pocket. Oh. The receipt I wrote is the ministry's receipt. Accurate financial records and prompt reports. Many times we are not supposed to wait for some partners. They will say the missionaries we are supporting, we want their report. We don't need to wait. Maybe at intervals, maybe quarterly, annually, we can just give them a report of our work. So when we report to them, they will know that the fund that they are giving is helping the ministry. There was a time somebody was supporting a missionary, and the person would just be on my neck. I want to write this man. I want to write. Okay, and I say right. When he now wrote the thing, when I read it, I was happy. The woman said, the support you have been giving me is the reason why my son is in school. Though the person thought it was small, but to the beneficiary, she saw it as a big deal, and it was an encouragement. And the man just said, we thank God for that. We pray we'll be able to do more. So we should report. Then proper documentation. Every documentation such that when somebody comes and say, what's your strength financially as a ministry, we'll be able to present it to them. Because some people, sometimes they will say, when they are giving you maybe like 100,000, they will think, yes, we are doing these people well. This thing is good. But sometimes, if they see the amount of money that is entering your account and they are seeing like 25 million, 50 million, the person will say, how will I be giving this type of ministry 100,000? They can handle more than this. And that is building confidence, because we are doing proper documentation and honest communication. Honest communication in the sense that the money they gave for a particular purpose, if you have used it for that purpose, and we communicate to them that the fund has been used for that purpose, and maybe somehow they got to know that, as you have said, is what you have done. It builds confidence in them because the communication between us and these donors are honest communication. Then openness. Openness. We must be open to them. If somebody that has something that is hiding that will not be open, so we must be open to them to let them know what their fund was used for and what we also need. I said here that note that transparency is not a burden. If you are transparent, it takes a lot of documentation before you can be transparent. You have to record, you have to, even as small as date is, you have to keep the date of when the fund comes so that on the receipt the date will be there. So it's a lot of work, but it's not a body, it is a ministry. Because as faithful stewardship requires openness and integrity, nothing to hide. And also, accountability is not a sign of distrust, but an expression of wisdom and humility. If you are given a particular money and you are told to account for it, it's not because you are not trusted, but it's a sign of wisdom and humility. It shows that you have used the money with wisdom. It shows that the money that you have used, that you were given, is not, you didn't spend it reflexively. There was a sound decision before you came up with the amount that you requested for, and you have spent it that same way. And so it's a sign of wisdom and humility. Why would they be asking me who is Kule, who is Dotun, that will be asking me such? It's a sign of humility. No matter what, if you are given a particular money that is for the ministry and you are told to account for it, it's a sign of humility. So the Lord will help us. So I want to quickly correct a notion that no one raises the support for me. I raise the support. I can spend it the way I like. Why would they be asking me? I am over there in the north and they're asking me to come and be given. Do they know the partners? They don't know the partners. I was the one that raised the money, so I can spend it anyhow. I want to tell us that for the fact that you raise that money does not confer ownership on you. God is still the owner. Why did you ask for the money? Because of God's work. So even though you are the one that raised the money, you are not the owner. It does not confer ownership on you. The only thing it confers on you is stewardship. And so, donors give because they trust God's work. It's not because of your personal interest. They gave because they trust God's work through Christian Missionary Foundation. So it's not because they want to fund somebody's personal discretion. No, they are giving it because they trust and they have confidence in Christian Missionary Foundation. So let's not be seeing it as, why would they be troubling me? They will be asking me to bring my report, my financial report, my account statement, my bank statement. What concerns them? I am the one that knows the partners. No, does not confer ownership on us. We are just stewards. And let's quickly go to internal controls. So remember, we are in the key pillars of financial discipline in ministry. So the first one is transparency and accountability. Then the second one is internal controls. Internal controls, protecting God's resources. So I believe that stewardship requires good internal controls. And when we're talking about internal controls, without big words, it's just a set of checks and balances so that everything will go smooth and our integrity will not be at stake. So it's a set of checks and balances designed to protect ministry resources, to prevent error. Sometimes we may not even have the mind of doing the wrong thing. But maybe when you are casting, for example, now somebody gave you 10 million. Mistakenly, you wrote 1 million. You miss 1 0. If there is no checks and balances, that's how you will continue to carry that 1 million. And it's going to affect everything at the end of the day. But if somebody starts a transaction, another person checks, another person concludes it, there is no how they will not detect that zero that is missing. So when we are talking about internal control, we are not saying, maybe they think I'm going to steal it. Maybe they think I'm not going to use it well. No, it's just for the sake of our integrity, to be sure that we are doing things the right way and to avoid errors. So for us as missionaries and mission leaders, I just said I want to define internal control as stewardship framework. You know, we are talking about this our role as stewards. The stewardship framework. What are the framework that will help us in our stewardship responsibility, so that we'll be able to promote integrity, transparency, accountability, and wise management of ministry resources? So that is just the way I define internal control. So some of this internal control includes keeping receipts. You have our receipt, you have the receipt, you keep the receipt. There is proper approval before spending. There is proper approval before spending. You are not the alpha and omega of any transaction. There is proper approval. And there is stewardship. This thing is not my own. You know, the way you do you handle something that is not your own. Don't let this thing spoil. Abeg, no be me get am. Just like that man, he say when they wanted to go and cut tree and the axe head fell into the water, the man say, alas, it was borrowed. Something like that. Stewardship. I am not the owner, and I must do it the way the owner said I should do it. So, recording all transactions, safeguarding ministry assets. We'll still talk about safeguarding ministry assets. The way some people use ministry assets, you'll be looking at them that, why are they behaving like this? If somebody has a personal car, the way they will handle it, because they know the money will come from their pockets if anything happens. But ministry own, there was a time I was going somewhere, somebody was in front of me, I know the person very well, and the person was in an official car. The road was very rough. I was behind the person. The way the person was driving, so somebody was now telling me now, no, madam, money. This one na personal car, that one na official car. Because the way the person was driving, if the money will come from his pocket, he would have taken it easier. So we are not supposed to do that as missionaries. Everything, even the one that we own, is God's own. We must not use it anyhow. And the ministry own, we have said it that everything, the money, the vehicle, proper, and everything is for God. We must be able to manage it well. So part of internal control is safeguarding ministry assets. The ministry has a vehicle. You want to use it for your daughter's wedding. You want to use it for your father's burial. They gave it to you. And when the car came back, the car, nobody can recognize it again. So many things has happened to the car. It does not matter. Even if it's ministry vehicle, if anything spoil in that car, before you return it, if you want to be a faithful steward, supposed to work on it at least to some extent. Not saying that shebi is our money that they are using to buy all those things. As stewards, will not do that. So safeguarding ministry assets, and also periodic financial reviews. When we say let's go and audit our accounts, it is very good, because we are complying with legal requirements. The policy of the ministry too will be seen. In fact, sometimes you may want to audit account and they begin to see the heads of the accounts. These people, so for medical missions, education missions, and this, some people may even take up some of those things that these people, what they are doing is very good. I think I want to be part of it. So periodic financial reviews. Then segregation of duties is very, very important. It's not only in the secular, even in ministry. Like I said the other time, authorization, custody, recording, review. You want to, in the day of this internet banking, somebody will initiate, another person will authorize. It will not start from one and end with that same person. So we must be able to follow all of those things. And if we are talking about cash, even though we don't have cash now, let even in the secular we have financial secretary and we have treasurer. It's part of checks and balances, so that the person that is keeping the money will not be the one that is recording it again. So they are all checks and balances, and they are not cumbersome for us as ministries to adopt it. So all these segregation of duty, they are very good for us, and it helps us. Like the example I gave the other time, it reduces risk of errors and fraud. It reduces risk of error and fraud. So if the risk of that zero is there and all other people have checked it, definitely they are going to see it. Then uh compliance. The ministry adheres to biblical principle. What's the biblical principle? Biblical principle of stewardship and organizational policies. What's our policy? Who handles what? Who does what? So, and also legal requirements and donor stipulations. There is no how we talk about this issue of stewardship that will not mention our donors. Our donors are stakeholders, because they have what they have in mind before they gave us the money. So everything must go according to their stipulation. Okay? Then I said internal control is not about restricting ministry. Leave me. They said me, I can only initiate, I cannot authorize. Why am I the leader? If I cannot authorize, why am I the leader? No, we are not. Internal control is not to restrict anybody. It's about protecting the integrity, resources, and testimony of the ministry, so that God's work can continue faithfully and sustainably. So, and it protects both the missionaries and the ministry. Oh, because of our time, the third one is separate personal and ministry finances. Separate personal and ministry finances. We are discussing key pillars of financial discipline. Separate personal and ministry finances. We should not be using the same account for our personal and ministry work. The fund that is coming in for us as a ministry must be in the ministry account. Let's separate it. Let's separate bank accounts. And also we must not treat designated funds as personal income. Designated fund must not be treated as personal income. It is not our own. It's not personal income. It is for the ministry. So it must be used as as stipulated. So we must not treat it as personal income. And in case you are the one that is in the custody of, because some fields now, for example, they may not have ministry account. Someone may be keeping the funds of the field now. If you are the one that is uh, with the field funds, don't borrow it, because if you borrow it, you will not pay it back, and that will make you to be tempted to be changing the amount, especially if there are no checks and balances. You are the treasurer, you are the financial secretary, and they gave you 10,000 naira. You borrow 1,000 naira there. Before you know it, you go and change that 10,000 naira to 9,000 naira, so that your account will balance. Please, let's not borrow funds, especially those of us that are entrusted with the custody of those funds. So that's separate personal and ministry finances. I said we should maintain separate bank accounts. Do not treat designated funds as personal income. Do not borrow ministry money for personal needs. Then the pillar, that is the fourth pillar, the stewardship of ministry assets. I've said some things about that one before, but I will just read through it. So financial stewardship extends beyond cash. So we have other mission assets that we have mentioned before. Our vehicles, our laptops, cameras, office equipment, vehicles, and the likes. So we must be able to treat them well. And also, we must not treat them as our personal property. It is not for us. It is for God and it's for the ministry, not for us. So there must be proper care, proper maintenance, documentation, and authorized use in a way that reflects stewardship. Even though the funds for maintaining those things are not from our pocket, we must negotiate well before we do it. Some of us, if it's our personal fund that we want to use to do something, we will negotiate well. But if it's ministry, they will just no negotiation. Please let us handle all these things with the consciousness that we are stewards. So there must be proper care, proper maintenance, and documentation. If you give anybody vehicle, the person must sign. This vehicle that you, even if it's a missionary, this vehicle that I borrow you is in proper use. I mean, it's in good use. It's in good way. It's functioning well. By the time you bring it back, you know that even though we know sometimes they have mechanical problem, but let it not be because the mechanical fault or problem comes as a result of misuse. Let's use it properly. Then the next one, wise procurement. Every purchase should reflect wisdom. Every purchase must reflect wisdom. Before we purchase anything, as individual, as a family, or as a ministry, we must ask ourselves questions. Is it necessary? Do we need this thing? Have prices been compared? So somebody is selling his own 10,000, another person is selling his own 8,000. It was cumbersome. You now thought, let's just settle with this 10 because that place, what I will do before I get to that price. No, let's compare prices. And also, can better value be obtained? Even with the amount you are holding, can you get a better value? All these questions must be asked because as we are buying, we must consider quality, and the value must be put into consideration. Remember, we talked about sustainability the other time. If not, if you buy something of low quality, you will continue buying, and there will be no sustainable uh, um assets because we keep on buying. So wise procurement seeks value for money while avoiding waste. We still avoid waste, and that's why sometimes they said accountants are stingy. It's not stinginess, but it's wisdom. Wisdom. There must be value for money. What you are obtaining, it must be able to serve you. Not that every year or every month you will be buying, because if you are doing that, there is no sustainability. Then the next one is fraud prevention. Fraud prevention. Missionaries should protect ministry resources from fraud. Thank God in our midst we don't have things like that. But this is part of the pillars of financial management. We will have practical safeguards for preventing fraud. The first one, because I know because of the peculiarity of our ministry, there are some things that we are doing. There are some things that we are doing that are not ideal. But because of the peculiarity of our work, that's why we are doing it. It is wrong to be signing blank check. It is very, very wrong. But because one signatory is in Ibadan, another one is in Maiduguri, that's why I'm coming to Ibadan, Oga, you help me sign. It's just because of the peculiarity, but despite that, we still have to say it. It is not ideal, it is not proper to sign blank checks. I don't know if you understand what I said. Even though we are doing it, but it's not an ideal thing. But because our situation too is peculiar, That's why we are doing. But thank God for internet banking now. Internet banking has saved us of that shortcoming, because most of us are not using checks now, and those that are not using internet banking, we have been encouraged to open internet banking, so that whether your guy is there or not, you will send the thing, he will now do it online, and will sign it online and send to us. So, but it is not proper. There was a time somebody was signing voucher for somebody. He was not the person that was not the owner of the money. He was signing the fund. So, and another person too that has collected the money that forgot to sign. The person now say, let me quickly sign. The person has already signed. I say, this thing that you did now, another time don't do it. So don't say because of CMF. If you sign it somewhere and the person that collected the money misappropriated the money, you will be held responsible for it, because in the eyes of the law, you are the person that collected the money. So some of those things that we are doing, they are not ideal, but because of the trust. But thank God for internet banking now. Another one, record keeping. We have said so much about that. So what should be in our record keeping? Our income, our expenditures, our assets, liabilities, our outstanding commitments. So we have this in our income and expenditure account, or receipts and payments, depending on the one we are using. They're already signaling to me. So the essential books and documents for those in custody of ministry funds, we must have receipts, the receipts that you will use to record the income, and vouchers that you will use to record all your payments. So you need all of those ones. Those of us that are in the custody of the ministry funds, ministry bank account and the likes. So we must have receipts, we must have vouchers, and we must have bank statements. Our bank statements must be up to date. We must always work with it. Then we must understand donor funds. We must distinguish between designated and undesignated funds. Designated funds must be used for the purpose that was stipulated. It's only undesignated funds that we can use for other ministry purposes. But if it's for the ministry, you cannot use undesignated funds for yourself. Because there was a time a missionary was giving himself support from the undesignated funds. So it is not for our personal use. It must be for the ministry work. And if your own fund comes through the ministry account, that one is understandable. Of course, the person has specified that that fund is yours. There is nothing bad in that one. Then common financial pitfalls to avoid before I round up. Common financial pitfalls to avoid, whether personal, family, or ministry level. Poor budgeting. We must avoid poor budgeting. We must be able to have budget. Sometimes if you don't have budget, you will not even know what you are trusting God for. So we must avoid poor budget. Then lifestyle inflation. Funds has come. Just like the example I cited the other time. The type of shoe I've been wearing before, I can't wear it again because level has changed. Some of us, some of the things that we are wearing, if you know what some of these partners that are giving us money are wearing, you will know that it's sacrifice. So because we now have more funds, we now want to inflate our lifestyle, and we are now doing things that even the donors cannot do because they are sacrificing to give us. We must avoid it. Then we must avoid impulsive spending. We must avoid impulsive spending, meaning whatever you want to buy, you want to use money for, must be well planned for. Not that I buy. This thing is good, it will be useful, I buy. This one is good, it will be useful, I buy. No, it's a financial pitfall, and we must avoid it. Then poor record keeping. We must avoid poor record keeping. Delayed reports. If you are asked to report our financial transactions, let's report it on time. Quarterly, let's report it. Let's send our bank statement. Then we must not misuse ministry, and misuse of ministry asset is another one, another pitfall. Then weak internal controls. We are just doing it the way we like. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get it. We'll get it. For how long are we going to get it? Let's get it right. Let's make up our mind. We're going to do it the right way. Then I have practical habit of financial disciplined missionary. If you see a missionary with this type of lifestyle, you know that such a missionary is financially disciplined. Prepare monthly budgets, record expenses, submit reports promptly, keep receipt, plan before spending, review finances monthly, pray before making significant financial decision, whether at personal or ministry level. Then the conclusion now. The Holy Spirit empowers us for mission, but discipline sustains the mission. As missionaries, we are not only ambassadors of Christ, but also stewards of God's resources. Every gift, donation, vehicle, and the likes entrusted to us must be managed with wisdom, integrity, and accountability. I said I've learned that ministries thrive not only because resources are abundant, but because the resources available are managed faithfully. So ministry thrive not because of the abundance of resources, but because the available resources are managed faithfully. So sound financial management strengthens donor confidence, safeguard ministry testimony, and the rest. Then the final charge now. Let us therefore be disciplined soldiers, not only in prayer, preaching, and service, but also in stewardship. When spiritual empowerment is combined with financial discipline, the church is better equipped to fulfill the Great Commission and conquer for nations. Financial discipline is not about having little or much money. It is about faithfully managing whatever God entrusts to you. A disciplined missionary inspires confidence and protects the testimony of Christ. He ensures that resources entrusted to God's work fulfills its kingdom purpose.